This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming and joining us this evening for the learning of Torah Hashem Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach. As always, we begin B'Shus Marad Asra of Landau with continued appreciation to all of you for coming and making the shir possible. It's interesting how it happens. It's like cyclical. We go weeks without a dedication, and then I make announcements and people call. So I'm going to mention the dedications this evening in the way they were received. The shir is dedicated tonight by the Dayan family in loving memory of Batsheva Bas Zahava. Her neshama should have a lichtige Gan Eden, a great aliyah, and she should be a Melitzis Yosher for her family, for all of us, and all of Klal Yisrael. Tonight's shir is also dedicated anonymously with the hope for Yeshua's and good shidduchim for Klal Yisrael. Tonight's shir is also dedicated by my long-term mispalim good friends, Dr. Yitzchak and Shoshana Goldsman, Lila Nishmas Yitzchak's father, Avram Leib ben Naftali Hirsch. It's not on the CD because he gave it to me tonight by the DAF, so I already printed out the CDs, so I'm going to print it on next week's CDs as well. But we'll learn Lila Nishmas Avram Leib ben Naftali Hirsch. There's neshama should have an aliyah, he should have a lichtige Gan Eden, he should be Meltz Yosher for his family, for all of us, and all of Klal Yisrael. We are also learning a very, very scary story. Someone I've gotten to know, a relative ate a sesame seed, got an allergic reaction, then had a heart attack and a stroke. Young woman. So we want to storm the Kisei HaKavod, that she should recover for her husband, for her children. Rachel Etel Bas Shalamis. Rachel Etel Bas Shalamis. She should have in the schus of our learning and our tefillas. Please write down the name and have her in mind. Rachel Etel Bas Shalamis. She should have a refuah shalema b'sek sharchel Yisrael. Finally, we'll also learn in memory one of my mispalim passed away. The Levaya was today. In memory of Leah Esther Bas Avram Merle. Her neshama should have an aliyah, and she should be a Melitzis Yosher for her family. Wow. Also, a lot going on today. It's also, I'm working, my son, Yaakov, let him live and be well, came to my home and taught me, hopefully, how to download from a digital recorder to be able to attempt to email the shir to my subscribers who would choose to get it by email instead of getting the CD in the mail. The value of getting it emailed is that they would get it hopefully tonight already instantaneously, and if they don't have CDs anymore in their cars and they want to have it on their computer and download it onto their iPhone or Android, so there will be this option. I will be sending out a letter. It won't be any difference in the cost if you wanted this method, but if you're listening to this via any of the mediums and you want already to send me your email to get it this way, you could either text it to me, your email, to 718-916-3100, 718-916-3100, or you could email me your email by emailing me to rmmwsi@aol.com. That's Rabbi Moshe Meir Weiss, Staten Island, at aol.com, rmmwsi@aol.com. So, sorry for this taking so long. We learn with the tefillah that all those that have been touched by the dreaded machla, known as Yana Machla, other related diseases, should have a refuah shalem b'sek sharchel Yisrael. All of us and our loved ones should always be healthy. Those that are looking for their shidduch should find their shidduch quickly and easily. Those that are awaiting children should be blessed with zara chaya v'kayama, healthy mommy, healthy baby. We should have parnasa berevach v'chavod and lange gesunte zisa shalom bayis. Amen. Vayeira love Hashem be'eloinei mamre. We know Hashem appeared to Avram to be mevakar chayla, to visit him. He was in the third day of his milah. Vayisa einav vayar, and Avram lifted his eyes and he saw v'nei shloisha anoshim nitzavim alav, and the three malachim disguised that Arabs were standing by him, Vayar, and he saw them, Vayoretz Likrosim, and he ran to greet them. So we know Rashi asks, why does it say Vayar twice? It says Vayar, he saw, V'hinei shloish anoshim nitzavim alav, and then it says Vayar, he saw, Vayoretz Likrosim. So the Chassam Sofer makes a fascinating suggestion that carries an important lesson. The Gemara tells us in Masechta Shabbos, Daf Lamed Amud Beis, Eina shchina shayra ela mitoich simcha. If a person wants to have the benefits of the presence of the Shechina, now don't say, well, Rabbi, why is presence of Shechina? You're talking about lofty things. We have that today. Ish ve'isha shalom beinehem shchina shruya beinehem. A husband and wife, if they have shalom, if they live in harmony and peace, they have shchina. Rav Miller used to say to a couple under the chuppah, right now is when the shchina descends. He would tell them, the couple is thinking about the photographers and the music, and he says, right now the shchina, this is the time when the shchina descends. Right? So, but the Gemara says, Eina shchina shayra, the shchina is not shayra, loy mitoich atzlus, not in the midst of laziness, v'loy mitoich atzvus, and not if a person is sad, ela mitoich simcha. The shchina is shayra when a person is happy. That's what we find by the Navi, that it says, Vayehi kemenagain hamenagain, when the minstrel played and it calmed his mind and put him in a happy frame of mind, Vatishra alav ruach Hashem. Then the ruach Hashem devolved upon him, the spirit of Hashem. Says the Chassam Sofer, Avraham Avinu was in pain. It was the third day of circumcision. He was 100 years old. It was a chamsin outside. It was very hot outside, and he had no visitors. So he wasn't in a happy frame of mind. So even though Vayeira love Hashem be'elonim arma, even though Hashem appeared, but Avram didn't see him. Because if you're not besimcha, you can't see the Shechina. Vayar he saw, v'hinei shloisha anoshim nitzaven alav. He saw he had guests. Now for Avram, guests was like the best kind of candy. Yeah, for the champion of Chesed, the opportunity to do guests on a day that he wrote off, that nobody is going to be outside, that immediately picked up his spirits. It immediately lifted his spirits. And that's why, says the Chassam Sofer, it says Vayar a second time. And now he saw the Shechina. So that was the first Vayar, is Hinei Shloisha Anoshim Nitzaven Olav. Oh, you saw the guests. Oh, happy days are here again. He saw the guests. Now Vayar. Now he saw the Shechina. Now, why is this important? There are people that learn, and they go to a share. They open up a sefer, and they say, it doesn't do much for me. It doesn't turn me on. I got to learn, And then there are people that learn, and they have a geschmack. How is it possible that a person should learn and not taste the sweetness? So Mishnah Pirkei Avos, afilu echad yoshev v'oisik b'Torah shchina connected. Even one person that sits and is oisik b'Torah, the shchina is opposite him. If you have shchina, there's nothing sweeter than shchina. Nothing sweeter than shchina. So how can it be that a person doesn't get turned on by learning? The answer is you have to be able to feel the shchina. If you're not besimcha, if you don't have a happiness, if the learning is a masli, it's a burden, you don't understand it, you're not in a good mood, you have worries, so then you don't connect with that shchina. And I believe that in a real way, that's the meaning. The Gemara asks in Masechtas Brachos, Noshim b'meh zachyan. How do women merit the special olam haba of limud HaTorah. And of course, women have mitzvahs. Women have all the lois assays. So a woman that doesn't speak lashon hara is going to get olam haba for that. And a woman that keeps Shabbos is going to get olam haba for that. And a woman that keeps mezuzah is going to get olam haba for that. And a woman that's shemitaris and mishpacha is going to get olam haba. What do you mean noshim hamezak? But like the Maharsha explains, Torah is nitzchias. Torah is eternal. How do women connect with Torah? And the Gemara says by getting their children to go learn Torah, and by waiting for their husbands when they come home from yeshiva, from learning. We've explained many times that the Gemara cleverly teaches us a dynamic for a wife. It doesn't say by telling their husbands to learn. The best way to get a husband not to do something is to tell him to do something. That's the best way to get him not to do it. But the best way to get a husband to do something is by showing you admire him for doing it. You wait up for your husband when it's something that you want him to do. If he's doing something you're not interested in, you say, don't wake me up when you get back. You're coming back late, don't wake me up. If you want him to do it, I'll wait up for you. But you have to understand that a wife, more than anyone else, can make a husband happy. And therefore she enables her husband to get the Shekhinah from his Torah. And that's her schus in the Torah. That's a tremendous schus. Because the real connection with Torah can only be with a person who learns that Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. And I want to add, I don't want to get too carried away on this topic. Simcha is an attitude. When it says Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha is the same letters as machshava. Isn't that interesting? B'simcha is the same letters as machshava. Because simcha is in the mind. That's why you find the very wealthy people could be sad, and very poor people could be deliriously happy. It doesn't have what to do. Assets help. But it doesn't have ezo ashira samech b'chelkai. Somebody's happy with their lot. In other words, it's an attitude. And a wife has a lot to do with making her husband have a happy attitude in life. And I believe that could be one of the meanings. There's a lot of meanings in it. It's a famous pasuk, Smach Zvulun b'tzeisecha v'yisachar ba'alecha. Zvulun is happy when he goes out. No, a person at Havas HaMalacha love your work. He's happy out there. He's making clients. He's making sales. He's getting happiness. Yisachar ba'alecha. Now, literally, Yisachar ba'alecha means the Oyelei Torah, like it says, Yaakov Ishtam Yoshev Oyelim. So Yisachar ba'alecha, he's having happiness, and the Torah ain't simcha k'simchas HaTorah. But I told you many times, there's another meaning of Yaakov Ishtam Yoshev Oyelim. He had 4 wives. And he lived in harmony with all 4 wives. Right? It says that after Matan Torah, at Matan Torah, we were not allowed for 3 days to be with our wives. After Matan Torah, it says, Shuvu lachem la'alechem. Return to your oil. Oil means a wife. That's Matovu alecha Yaakov. And when it says Yisachar ba'alecha, it's important that Yisachar receives the happiness from his tent. Then he'll connect with his learning. Mahari shloisam kemach soilas lushi v'asi ugos. Avram sensed there was a matter of rush. Mahari, hurry. It tells his 90-year-old wife, Mahari, hurry. Remember we said that if you would tell your wife, who's a gourmet chef, the last 50 years, Lucy, need, vasi, you guys, excuse me, you have to tell me to need? What am I, in kindergarten? So the Tamim Minhagim asked this question, and the Tamim Minhagim says, remember it was Pesach. He served matzah. So he told her, Mahari, can't let it sit for 18 minutes. Lucy, work it constantly. He was reminding her. The Hilchos Pesach. But the Mefarshim say that he said Kemach and Silas. That's a contradiction. Kemach is regular flour. Silas is fine flour. Right? We're learning all about it in Menachos. That the Silas, fine flour, is sifted 13 times. So which one was it? Was it Kemach? Was it regular flour? You know, you buy it in a 5-pound bag. Or was it Silas? It's a contradiction. It's a paradox. So the Mefarshim say that it has to do with an interesting shaila that impacts on many mitzvahs. Many mitzvahs. What's the din if I could shakel a lulav and esrig at 9 o'clock in the morning of a plain variety? 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I can get a lulav and esrig that's a mahudr. That's a knockout. Should I make the bracha at 9 because it's rizas? Or should I wait till 4 to do the mitzvah min hamufcher? Which is more important, rizas or mitzvah min hamufcher? You have on Chol Hamoed, the aravas and hadassim of your lulav are all dried out. So you could make the bracha in the morning on your lulav and esrik, or you could wait till the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, somebody is bringing fresh hadassim and aravas. Do you do the mitzvah with zrizas in the morning? Or do you wait till the afternoon? What do you do? What do you do? The Radvaz has this shayla. So they want to say that this was a difference of opinion between Avram and Sarah. Avram said, Mari, make silas. They're hungry. Just use plain flour. Make kemach, make flour. Sarah Meinu held that you're doing achnos zorchim, you have to do it right. So she made silas. Sifted 13 times. She felt mitzvah min hamufcher is more important. What happened? In the meantime, she was pirsa nida. Her regular cycle returned, and she was matame the bread, and therefore they didn't serve it. If she would have made it quicker, they would have brought it out, and she would have been able to serve it. And that's why Avram was in a rush. Mari! So they want to bring a raya that zrizas is even more important than mitzvah min hamufcher. You should know that zrizas is a very big thing, because it shows everybody does the mitzvah. But if they're azoris, if they're energetic, it shows how important it is. You know, if there's something that you're excited to do, you're azoris. Azoris. There's a baseball game tonight between the Red Sox and the Dodgers, I believe. The World Series. A person that's a Zoris is there already right away, prepared with the beer and the chips or whatever. The Zoris. It shows that he's machshavit. You have to know about the baseball game. Why do you have to know about it? Because if you're here and not by the baseball game, it's an extra scoop. You don't know about it. Okay, you didn't know about it. You know about it. And you're here anyway. That's an extra scoop. I remember there's such a thing as a Subway series. The Mets and the Yankees, they once had a Subway series. So I give 2 daf yomis, one in Staten Island, one in Borough Park. So I said by the Staten Island Daf, hardly anybody is missing. Nobody opted for the Subway Series. Everybody's here. Then I go to Borough Park and I say Subway Series. And they look at me with blank stares. What's a Subway Series? I have no idea what I was talking about. Subway Series? Something to do with the trains? I have no idea what I was talking about. Vatitzchak Sora bekirba. Sora laughed. There's a lot of discussion about this laughing. What is Sarah laughing? There's no bigger maimon than Sarah Imenu. What's she laughing? You have to know that things are not what they seem to be. They're not what they seem to be. The Ramban says that, it's the Ramban's opinion, that Avram Avinu never told Sarah Imenu what he was told in last week's parsha by the Bris Bein HaBesarim, that he would have a son. He never told it to her. Why? Because Hashem never told him to tell it to her. You know, Vayedaber Hashem al Moshe Leimar. Only what Hashem told Moshe Leimar to say, he said. If Hashem didn't say Leimar, then he didn't say it. Learn out, you can't. So even though it's his wife, Ramban says Hashem never told Avram to tell your wife, so he never told her. But a lot of people don't learn like that. A lot of people say he changed her name to Sarah. Says no longer will you be called Avram, and no longer will she be called Sarah. He changed her name. You change your wife's name after 90 years. You have to have an explanation. You know, I'm changing your name. Why? Am I sick? Why were you going Shina Hashem? So a lot of Rishonim learn not like the Ramban, that Avram told her. So if Avram told her, what was she? After I'm all withered, isolated, Edna, am I going to be rejuvenated? And my Lord is old. What are you so shocked? Hashem changed your name. You're Kakatan Chanel. I'm going to share with you two mahalchim of the Chassam Sofer. Both are fascinating. One thing he said is that she thought they were Arabs. She didn't know that they were Malachim. She thought they were Arabs. There's a whole question whether Avram Avinu knew. You know, he tipped his hand a little bit because he said, give them the food, v'sadu libchem. Let's satisfy your hearts. Now, he didn't say levavchem. He said libchem. Because a mouth doesn't have a Yetzirah. We have a Yetzirah, so it says two bases. Levavchem. But by saying v'sadu libchem, he tipped his hand. So some say Avram knew. But Sarah didn't know. And Sarah knew that the bracha of a Russia could be dangerous. When Lavan said to Rivka, Achosenu at Yehei alfei revavos, when he said to her that you should be for thousands and myriads, so the Medrash says, Nisakra Rivka. Rivka became sterile because of that. So that now she had to have a miracle. It shouldn't be from the blessing of Lavan. So she was afraid of the blessing of these Arabs who Avram Avinu at first glance treated like idol worshippers, because made them wash their feet before they came in the house because they worshipped the sand. So she was afraid. So she did it for Titzchak Sarah to negate their blessing. That's one pshat in the Chassam Sofer. It's a fascinating pshat. But I think the second pshat that he says is really important. Really important. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvaro. Amen. I think the second pshat that he says is the Chassam Sofer says, what did they say? V'hinei ben l'sara ishtecha. And Sarah is going to have a son. And actually, Avram Avinu repeated it and said, "L'moyed oshev alecha ke'eis chayo l'sara ben." Next season, I'm going to return l'sara ben. That prophecy, that statement of the Arabs, chilled Sarah. Nowhere does it mention Avram. It didn't say, you guys will have a child. It says, V'nei ben l'Sarah yishtecha. Sarah will have a son. Now, if you remember, Sarah was extremely sensitive to this. Remember when Avram Avinu said, Ma titein li va'anoichi hoylech hariri. What will you give me? And I am childless. So what did Sarah Imeinu say? That's the way you daven? That's the way a husband davens? Va'anoichi? Chamasi alecha. My anger on you. Yishpot Hashem beini ubeinecha. And Rashi says, what are you davening just for yourself? Ma titein li va'anoichi hoylech hariri. You want to have a child yourself with maybe another woman? Pray for both of us. We're a team. When Sarah Imeinu, Sarah was true to her own feelings. When she heard somebody say, Ulu Sarah ben, she said, I don't want that. I don't want my husband to die and I should have a child with somebody else. Then I don't want a child. Ulu Sarah ben? That's not the way to daven. Married couple davens together. To go through life together. To succeed together. That's why she laughed. Because it says, Gemara in Brachos, that if somebody has a bad dream, you make an announcement. When Yaakov heard that the Shvatim would bow down to the young child, he said, Avon avo ani, it was mavatal it. So here, Sarah Imeinu was mavatal it. Now Hashem had kaviyachol an internal dilemma whether to share with Avram Avinu what he was doing with Sodom. You know, it's not like nowadays that you get right away, instantly on Yeshiva World, on matzav.com, you know, that you get what's happening all over the world. In those days, it's possible that Hashem could have destroyed Sodom and Avram wouldn't have even known about it. You couldn't watch it on CNN. You couldn't hear it on WINS. But Hashem said, Hamechasa ani me Avram. Should I hide from Avram? Asher ani oseh? Should I hide what I'm doing? Ki yadativ, because I love him. Laman asher yitzave es bonav es b'nei beis hayachrav. V'shamru derech Hashem. I want to tell him, because I love him, that he transmits to the next generation. He does chinuch to his children. What does one have to do with another? Truth of the matter is that Sodom impeded Avram Avinu's message. It was an impediment. People argued it proved his whole way of life wrong. Avram Avinu preached kindness and fairness as the way to live a proper life. And that God will reward you if you live that way. And people pointed to Sodom and said, that's proof positive that you're wrong, Avram. Because that's a whole society of people that are selfish, that are not nice to outsiders, and yet they're thriving. Yet it's the breadbasket of the world. It's the star of civilization at the time. So Avram Avinu, Hashem said, Hamechasa ani me Avram. I know Avram is going to get upset of the 3 million people in Sodom and the 4 other cities dying. I know he's going to get upset. But should I hide it from him? He is involved in making Talmidim, and he has to know that this cause and effect. And if you treat people like Sodom, you're going to get nuked. You're going to get sulfurized. That's the Pashup Pshat. Hamechasa ani mi Avram es asher ani oseh. Should I hide from Avram what I'm doing? When ki yadavtiv l'man asher yitzave es banav es b'nei beis hayachrav, I know that he's going to be mechanech. He has to hear this. No, it says this pshat. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says this pshat. I want to thank Rabbi Barrows from South Fallsburg for sharing with me. He sent me a page from Shlomo Zalman Auerbach's Sefer, sharing with me this thought. It's a beautiful thought. The Chassam Sofer says something different, along the same lines, but different. The Chassam Sofer says that the lesson of Sodom should allow us to make a kal v'chomer. And Avram used this in his chinuch. Make a kal v'chomer. That if this is the way Hashem punishes the wicked, then the reward for the righteous, which is 500 times more than the punishment of the wicked, imagine what the reward for the righteous are that act kind to one another and are nice to one another. If Sodom was punished like this because they weren't nice, then which Hashem rewards 500 to 1, 500 to 1, imagine what the reward is going to be. And in this, it's similar to what the Medrash says in Esther Rabbah. The Medrash asks in Esther Rabbah, we gather on Purim in the night and in the morning, and it sounds like an advertisement for a 6-star hotel in Vegas. That's how it opens up. Beds of gold and silver. A gem-studded floor. What are we learning about this? What is this, an advertisement for the Sheraton in Persia? What is this? The Hilton in the Meads? What is it? So the Medrash says, if those that transgress his wills and use the Kelim of the Beis Hamikdash still have such splendor, then could you imagine what's going to be the reward for those that do his will? We can't even imagine the reward that's waiting for us after 120 in the next world. Vayigesh Avram, Vayomer, Ha'af Tispet Tzadikim Rasha? Are you going to gather the righteous together with the wicked? Chalila lecha me'asois kadavar hazeh. Heaven forbid for you to do such a thing. Lahamis tzadik im rasha. What was the Havamina? That Hashem would kill the righteous together with the wicked? So it's interesting. We know, we learned it by the Noach, all the children died. We know that when it's a sin of znus, and in Sodom they also had znus, under the musya bala aylam beina mafkan bein tov l'ra. Bad things come to the world and doesn't differentiate. So here the Chassam Sofer says an interesting thing. He says that there are times, it's really a scary Chassam Sofer. It says there are times when Hashem has to bring widespread punishment. He'll destroy the righteous too, in order not to embarrass publicly the sinner. If only the sinners died, they would be shamed. So Hashem makes a sweeping gezerah as not to shame the sinner. That's what the Chassam Sofer says. But that's only if even the wicked people at least had kavod abrius. If they had respect for people. If they had respect for people, then they would merit the right that Hashem would be worried about their respect. But in Sodom, there was no respect for a human being. They let poor people stagger to their death. It says they wouldn't give them food. They put people on a bed, and if they didn't fit, they cut off their feet. They had no kavod abrius whatsoever. So of such people, Hashem said, would you clear away the righteous too, together with the wicked, to not embarrass these people, these wicked people, who have no respect for the human beings? It's scary, though, that such a concept exists, that Hashem might take away people just like that. The sinners shouldn't be embarrassed. This highlights a lesson what it means to be a Jew. Hashem is sensitive even to the feelings of wicked people. What's the best proof of this? It says that the talking donkey by Bilam died. After it talked, it died. The only talking donkey, it could have been a circus show. Only talking donkey. It died right after it talked. Why? So that people shouldn't say, this is the donkey that bested Bilam. This is the donkey that was smarter than Bilam. You're worried about Bilam's feelings? The man who wanted to curse Klal Yisrael? The man who would give an eitzah to get Klal Yisrael to sin with promiscuity and cause 24,000 people to die? You feel bad for his yes. We feel sensitive of every human's feelings. We see this concept over and over again. It says, we're learning now, Kachim, the Vayeira Gems. Kachim, Shchitasim B'tzafim. All Holy of Holies, an Oila, Asham, a Chatas, they're all slaughtered on the north. Why? Because the sin offering is brought on the north. And if that was the only carbon that was offered on the north, then everybody would know he's a sinner. Look, he's on the north, he's a sinner. His carbon is being brought on the north, he's a sinner. So therefore we bring the Ayla, the burnt offering, which is a gift, also on the north. What are we? We're so worried about sinners? Yes. The Eitz Hadas, which caused death to mankind. Till this day, we don't know what the Eitz Hadas was. We have a fairly good idea that it wasn't an apple tree. But there's a three-way machlokes in the Gemara. Whether it was wheat, whether it was esrog, whether it was figs. Why don't we know? We don't want to embarrass the tree. We're very sensitive not to cause people embarrassment. Very sensitive. To the point that Hashem would cause people that are not sinners to die in order that the sinners shouldn't stand out as targeted punishment. It's a very scary thought. There's a very revealing Ibn Ezra in the Pasha. Very revealing Ibn Ezra. It's Ibn Ezra is short and sweet and to the point, but a lot of times very novel. It says, Ula yesh chamishim tzadikim b'soicha ir. Maybe there are 50 tzadikim inside the city. What does it mean, b'soicha ir? What does it mean? If you're on a military base, you don't count? You have an absentee ballot, you don't count? If you live in the suburbs, you don't count? What does it mean? Ula yesh chamishim tzadikim b'soicha ir. Maybe there's 50 people in the city. Ibn Ezra says something fascinating. The Ibn Ezra says it means that Avram prayed that even if there's a tzaddik who's only a tzaddik when he's outside of his house. In other words, in the house he has a private getchka in his bedroom that nobody knows about. In the house, he screams at his wife. He hits his kids. But at least outside, he's a goody-goody. Avram said, save them for such 50 phonies. And Hashem said, yeah. Why? The guy's a phony. Looks like such a tzaddik. He's a hypocrite. Acts like such a tzaddik. He sits on the mizrafant. At home, he never learns, never does anything. Avraham Avinu said, if you're going to do something, even though this person exists, it's going to be Chilul Hashem. Because people don't know he's not a tzaddik. It's going to be a Chilul Hashem. Isn't that interesting? There's a protection even for just being good on the outside. Because my Yomer Agoyim, what will people say? They don't know. I don't remember if it was the Divrei Chaim, the sons of Rav, or Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld. It was one of the two. He says that he told his Rebbetzin that you'll have no problem in Ma'ilam Haba. He says, you'll go up there and you'll say that you were the Rebbetzin of Rav Sonnenfeld. So they'll say Rav Sonnenfeld wasn't a tzaddik. So you'll say, yeah, but I thought he was. I thought he was. So he says, you won't have any problem. And he says, then you'll save me. He says, I'll go upstairs and they'll say, you're not a tzaddik. But your wife will say, but I don't want to be without my husband. So you'll schlep me into Gan Eden. Okay. It's pretty chilling to hear somebody say, Rav Sonnenfeld or the Divrei Chaim say about themselves that they're not a tzaddik. When we know that they were the greatest of the great. Chalila lecha me'asais kadavar hazeh. Heaven forbid for you to do this, lamis tzaddik im rasha. So Rashi says an interesting thing over here on lahamis tzaddik im rasha, to kill the righteous together with the rasha. Rashi says, loihu, not to do that, v'loi k'yotzi bay, or not anything similar. What does that mean, loihu v'loi k'yotzi bay? Not it. He said, Avram said, heaven forbid that you should kill the tzaddik with the wicked. What does it mean, loihu v'loi k'yotzi bay? Not it, nor not anything like it. What does that mean? Anything like it. Secondly, what does it mean, Muhammad Tzaddik im Rasha? To kill the righteous with the wicked. It should say, Muhammad Tzaddik v'Rasha. Heaven forbid you should kill Tzaddik and Rasha. What's im Rasha? With the Rasha. What does that mean? You know, we're used to hearing that Avraham Avinu did this whole long prayer, and then Hashem nuked the 4 cities. Right? Lot was more successful. He prayed for Tzayir and he got the whole Tzayir to be spared. Lot was more successful than Avraham. And we said this whole elaborate tefillah and it got nowhere. So the answer is that no tefillah goes nowhere, and this teaches us that when Avraham prayed this, it helped the Jews throughout the ages. Hashem took from this prayer of Avraham and helped the Jews in the schus of tzaddikim that were in their midst throughout the ages. But the truth of the matter is Avraham Avinu's prayer did help. He was davening for light. Now, light didn't merit to be saved for himself, but he was saved b'shtil shtei preidos, because of 2 girls that would come out of his family. Rus HaMoaviyah and Nama HaMonis. Rus, the ancestors of David, and Nama for Shlomo HaMelech. Oh. Chalila lecha la'asayis kadavar hazeh lahamit tzaddik im Rashi. You wouldn't kill a righteous person with a wicked person. Says Rashi, kayotze bay. Or would you kill a wicked person that has within him a righteous person? And that's lahamis tzaddik im Rasha. When the tzaddik is im Rasha, with the Rasha in his loins. Here is where Avraham Avinu was praying for light, and he succeeded. He saved light. He saved Malchus Beis David. Now we know that Lot risked his life to invite the Malachim into his house. It's a big thing. It was a death sentence. We know that they already killed Lot's daughter, coated her with honey because she took care of a poor person. The family already lost terribly from that's you when you hear about Lot's wife, Mrs. Lot, Iris, that she said My husband wants salt. And you wonder, but she wanted to make it clear that they shouldn't suffer the fate of the daughter. It was a dangerous place to die. No, the daughter was taken care in a clandestine way, a poor person, and they put her under surveillance. They found it, and they said to her, yeah, you want to be a goody-goody? We'll show you what it means to be a goody-goody. They coated her body with honey, and they left her, be a goody-goody to the bees. And they stung her to death. But Light risked his life. Not a simple person, Light. Light risked his life. Suru no, el beis avdechem. No, I'm inviting you. The Ramban says that it was a schus of the achnasas orchim of Light that he risked his life, that he was saved. And then Light did something else. Light is given praise for the fact that he was Light was down in Mitzrayim, and Avram Avinu said that she's my sister, and Light knew that Avram was a husband, and if he would have said it, then they would have killed Avram, and he would have got all of Avram Avinu's possessions. And he didn't say anything. He kept his mouth shut. So Light had two good deeds. He invited the angels and risked his life in time to do achnas zarchim, and he kept his mouth shut in Mitzrayim. And because of that, that's why he was zeichet for shtei preidos, the two tremendous people that came from him. And that was Rusa Mavia and Nama Amonis. But wait, it gets better. History unfolds, and these two descendants sinned in Hachnos Zorchim al Vara Shaloi Kidmu Eschem Belechem B'mayim. They didn't bring bread and water. And with the mouth, by hiring Bilam Lekalalecha, by hiring Bilam to curse Klal Yisrael. Because the men of these two nations sinned by not being hospitable and by not controlling their mouth, that's why it says Amoini v'loy Amoinas and Moyavi v'loy Moyavis. They're only the women were not allowed to marry into Klal Yisrael, and not the men. Vayoimru, and they said, Ha'echad bar lagur v'yishbeit shafait. And now he wants to judge us? So they wanted to do real bad to Light. And Malachim had to pull him in, otherwise they would have killed Light. You get the picture of who Sodom is. All these people were only back in their homes because of Light. Remember, they were seized by Kedar Laomer, by Amraphel, who was Nimrod. And the only reason that they were saved and returned to their home was because of Avram Avinu that came to rescue Lot. It's only because of Light that they're back in their homeland safe and sound. And now they want to kill Light. Gives you an insight on who these people were, and it shows Ma'aseh Avos Siman Labanim. History repeats itself. That's exactly what happened in Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim only survived because of Yosef, and yet look what he did to the Paro did to their descendants. It's history repeating itself exactly. Al Kain Kara Shema Yitzay. Here, the Chassam Sofer has such a marvelous gematria. What a marvelous gematria. Al Kain Kara Shema Yitzay. He called the name of the city Tzayar. So we know that Light was told to escape to the mountains. He didn't think he'd make it. And he wanted to be amongst other people that his his sins shouldn't be so noticeable. So he said, "V'haloi mitzerhi." It's a younger city, so it wasn't Mamali Sa'asa. Tzayar was founded a year after the other four cities. So Light argued that we don't punish a city until it reaches its quota of sin. He said Tzayar didn't reach his quota of sin, and Hashem listened. And he spared Tzayar for 1 year, And then Saya was destroyed after the year. How much is a year? A solar year? 365 and a quarter days. That means that Saya was destroyed 366 days later. The gematria of Tsayar is 366. Tzaddik is 90. Vav is 6, that's 96. Ayin is 70, so that's 166. And Reish is 200, it's 366. It's in the name. In 366 days, Tsayar would be destroyed. Vayashkem Avram Baboiker. This is very interesting. You know, you read it in the pasuk, and it's such a lesson how important it is for a person to learn over and over again. This is a pasuk that we looked at all our lives, and we didn't notice such an obvious diak. Vayashkem Avram Baboiker. Avram got up in the morning. Vayar v'hinei ola kitar haaretz. He saw smoke from the land, kikitar hakishim, like the smoke of a furnace. Vayhi b'shachei selikim, Hashem destroyed. Right, so he saw the Holocaust. He saw the destruction. It was like the mushroom cloud of the nuclear bomb. He saw, and it was kikitar hakivshin. What's the metaphor in the pasuk of the kitar hakivshin? The smoke of a furnace. Do you ever wonder about that? I'll tell you the truth. I never did. What's the metaphor of the smoke of a furnace? If I would have put 2 plus 2 together. I never noticed this. When Avram Avinu saw the smoke of a furnace, he knew that Lot was saved. Because he said Lot's father, Haran, went into the Kivshin Ha'esh and he died al Kiddush Hashem. There's no way Hashem would have allowed his son and his Einiklach to die in the smoke of the Kivshin after Haran died al Kiddush Hashem. We all know the story. Avram Avinu went into the Kivshin Ha'esh. Nimrod said, whose side are you on? Haran says, I'll see. If Avram comes out, I'll go in. Avram came out, he went in and he died. He didn't have the merits of Avram. But it says because of that, he was zeicha that his children would be from the imais of Klal Yisrael. No, he was zeicha to that. So the Gemara tells us in Yevamos that there was a chassid that did mitzvahs with water, and when his daughter fell into a well, he knew that his daughter wouldn't drown because he did mitzvahs. So Haran, who did mitzvahs with the kivshin, there's no way that his son would die in the kivshin. Avram knew that. But ask the Chassam Sofer, then why does it say Vayizker Elikim es Avram Vayishlach es Lot mitoich hakivshin mitoich ha'afeicha? Hashem remembered Avram. Why did it need the merit of Avram? Why doesn't it say Vayizker es Haran? Why do you need Avram? So Chassam Sofer gives a very clever answer. He doesn't need my askama. Chassam Sofer gives a very clever answer. He says Hashem could have punished Sodom with a different way. If it wouldn't have been the Kivshin, maybe Lot wouldn't have been protected. He could have punished them with the snakes. He could have punished them with lions. Could have punished them with a earthquake. But Hashem used it kikitar hakivshin in order that the Midah Keneged Midah should save Lot. And that was b'schus Avram. That's the way the Chassam Sofer learns. I want to suggest maybe something else. The Vayizker as Avram, ultimately it was Avram's chus, because Haran only went into the Kivshin because Avram did it first. So it was still Vayizker as Avram. Before I share with you the final thought for the evening, and we'll be perfectly placed to daven at 11. And by the way, if you didn't get it yet, it's a steal. My 114 shiurim on Orchos Chaim LaRosh is on one MP3. 114 shiurim on the entire Sefer. It's only $36. It's a steal of the century. Ramish, and I have a Pirkei Avos here, 12 CDs on Pirkei Avos. I have my power benching, challenging times. And again, I want to remind you that for the first time tonight, I'm going to be working on the option of emailing the shir for those that want to get it emailed instead of receiving a CD. That way they get it instantaneously. You can download it onto their tablet or onto their iPhone. It'll be the same cost. I'll sit by the computer and email it. If you want to be on that list, please email me. I'll be sending out a letter as well about this. It's a pilot tonight. I'm trying it. If Yaakov taught it to me, I have my digital recorder right here, and we're going to try it tonight. It says, "V'ish ein ba'aretz lavay aleinu kederech kol ha'aretz." We know that the two daughters of light, Rashiva, Ramesha said, were righteous women. They were worried that there was nobody to continue the world, and therefore they got their father drunk, and they had relations with their father in order to continue the race. So the Chassam Sofer says, what did they think? That Hashem killed Avram and his family? What did they think? So the Chassam Sofer says such an interesting thing. He says the girls knew that they were not saved for themselves. They were saved because of the two predas that were supposed to come from them. And therefore they reasoned as follows. If they're supposed to come from someone else, then why did our father get spared? And if it's supposed to come from our father, then why were we spared? And if it's supposed to come from one of us, then why did the other one get spared? Therefore, they divined it must be that the shtei predos that we were spared for, one of them is from one of us and our father, and the other one was from the other one and our father. And that's why they did the unique thing that they did. Again, we want to thank the Dayan family for sponsoring tonight in memory of Batsheva Basahava. I want to thank Dr. Goldsman and family for sponsoring the shir tonight in memory of his father, Avram Leib and Naftali Hirsch, the anonymous sponsor with hope for Yeshuas and good Shidduchim for Klal Yisrael, to please learn the Fur Shalema for Rachel Etel Bas Shalamis in memory of Leah Esther Bas Avram Merle. B'chananya ben Akash Amar, Rotzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu, L'zakaises Yisrael, L'fika Cher B'Lahem Torah Mitzvahs, Shenema Adinoi Chofetz, L'man Tzidka Yagdil Torah V'Yadir.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.